Hi Cancer, welcome to your November 2019 Astrology 33 bonus love reading. Thank you to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. And for those of you interested in booking a personal reading with me, just check out the description of the video for all the information on that. Alright, so with that out of the way, we have a spread in front of us that I call Bridging the Gap spread, and the way it works is the 3 cards on this side represent your energy towards the connection with your main love interest. And on the right side here, these cards represent their energy toward the connection. And these are the past energies, present energies, future energies. And then once we get through those, we'll actually pull some oracle cards with some additional insight. That's where the bridge and the gap dynamic comes into play. And as for the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, on the right side we have the Tarot of Sexual Magic. Alright, so with all that out of the way, past energy on your side, we have Magic. So this is the Magician card, and not just this card, but there were a couple of other indicators when I was laying out the cards, and I started to laugh to myself. I'm like, was there magic involved here? Like, did you guys try to, do love spells on each other or something? I don't know, kind of weird. Obviously, that wouldn't be the case for most of you, but it did start to stick out to me a bit as I was looking at the cards. But in particular with this card here, what this can be saying is a couple of things. Could be saying that you were really in manifestation mode when it came to this connection in the past. Another way it could play out as well is where it could just be saying that you might have had like a magical effect on the person or them on you. Like whenever you were around them, you felt like the connection was magical, for example, or maybe they felt that way toward you. That's the primary thing that I'm feeling there with this card, but we'll see how it plays out as we go along. Past energy on their side, they have the 6 of Pentacles and the 6 of Cups. So interesting. Both of these cards are, 6 energy, which is fixed energy. And this is actually a Taurus card here. And this is a Scorpio card. So for some of you, this can be pointing to a timeline, which is to say that maybe this, the connection might have started around the time of Taurus season last. And maybe more specifically when there was the full moon in Scorpio. And that would make sense as far as, now we're 6 months later and those roles are going to be reversed. It's going to be the sun in Scorpio and the moon will be in Taurus when we have the full moon. So maybe things from back then are coming back up for review now. But more specifically, what I could see playing out here is a couple of things. Taurus energy here, and for you guys, Taurus is your 11th house of friendship. And then 5th house energy here. So Scorpio being your 5th house, and that could relate to love and romance. So this could just be saying that this is someone that you felt like you connected very well on a friendship level, or maybe the two of you even were friends, but you also felt like a real strong attraction toward each other in a more emotional way too. That could be how it's playing out there. Another way I do have to say this could be playing out though, could just be saying that they might have tried to keep things at just a friendship level with you. And the reason that may have been the case is because there's still an X in the picture that they weren't over in the past. So, because the 6 of Cups is definitely a card. In the traditional tarot, it does point to reconciliation, but with this deck in particular, I don't see it as much of a guaranteed reconciliation vibe as much as it's definitely the person is thinking about the person from their past. So, could have been what was going on there. All right. The present energy on your side, we have Sacrifice, which is the equivalent of the Hanged Man in regular tarot, Ace of Coins, which is Ace of Pentacles, and Oppression, which is the Tower. So this was an interesting group of cards to get together, and I'm trying to think of how it could play out, and there's a few things that are coming to mind. One could be saying that flat out you may have sacrificed maybe even a job offer for the sake of trying to be with this person, and then that might have, ended up backfiring on you because maybe, again, like they weren't ready to commit. But, maybe, again, with that magician vibe in the past, right, maybe you were just so sure that this was the real deal that you're like, okay, maybe you had some kind of an offer, you decided to pass on it because you're like, well, I'm going to be with this person. So obviously it might have been a job offer that might have taken you to a different city, maybe even a different state, different country, depending on where you live, right? And, it could have been a very prosperous offer that you got, but for whatever reason you turned it down, and then you feel, in the present, like it was all for nothing if this person didn't end up wanting to commit with you. Another way this could be playing out, though, is to say that the connection might have been broken apart because there was some, career situation where, and given that this is showing up in your energy, this could just be saying that you were actually the one that had to leave for a new career path, and then that might have broken the connection apart. Or given that all three of these energies are so different from each other, it could just be saying that maybe they were the ones who had to leave behind for a career situation, and that leaves you feeling that way right now with the Tower energy. And lastly, another way this could be playing out could just be saying that it's all energetic too, where maybe you thought for sure, okay, well, like I said, maybe they were trying to keep it friendly, but maybe there was a little friends with benefit vibe, right? So you're like, all right, I'll go through with that, with the thought that eventually they'll be ready for a commitment, right? And then now you feel like, all right, well, that's never going to happen. So you might feel like, all right, well, I wasted my time, right? Like maybe you feel like you're seeing the situation more clearly now. And you're like, okay, well, I made all this sacrifice in hopes that this would turn into an actual commitment, and now it's not, So that could be what's going on there. Present energy on their side, we have 3 of Cups, 8 of Cups, and 9 of Pentacles. So another one, in the present, you guys both got a lot of cards, but what I'm seeing here, this is actually a Cancer energy, for one. And then this is actually a Pisces energy and a Virgo energy. So, but what I'm seeing primarily with these cards could just be saying that, on a passionate level, you guys might really connect very well, right? That could be what the thing is. But then when maybe you try to have a discussion with them about it turning deeper, right, they might feel a little bit cold to the idea. Because, it looks like one person, the guy definitely looks like he's into it, right? And then the female energy is like, yeah, I don't know about that. So that's the main vibe I'm picking up on there. It's like, all right, well, yeah, the sex, right? Sexually, you guys might connect very easily, right? It might be great and all, but when there's like a discussion about taking it to the next level, because if you think about the 8 of Cups in the traditional tarot, it's someone who walks away in pursuit of something deeper, right? So that could just be saying that whenever you guys have that discussion, you might try to bring it up to them that, hey, maybe we should take this to the next level. They might try to, really, fight that discussion. And then with the 9 of Pentacles is very much an energy of being single. And here in particular, though, what stands out to me is the way he's like cutting a strand of her hair. So this is what I was saying, going back to, I'm like, did the two of you doing magic on each other or what? But here in particular, what that made me think of is that they want to keep their single status, right, with the 9 of Pentacles, but they also want a piece of you. Now, that can mean quite, sexually in this case, but that's what stands out to me. It's like, all right, well, they want to stay single with that 9 of Pentacles energy, but yet he's still trying to take some of her hair with him, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, well, make up your mind, right? So that could be why you're in that energy that you're in the present now. And it's interesting because I was getting like the non-commitment vibes from your readings for a couple of months, where the other person just seemed non-committal, and then I think last month it was like the realization that there was like a passionate connection and not much else. So this could all be like still a continuation of the same story. I don't know. For some of you, this can be something totally new, but yeah, that definitely sticks in my mind. So here's what's interesting. In the future position, we have the Ace of Cups. So this is an idea to actually have a new love connection. So what's interesting is it's saying that this is the energy you're bringing toward the connection. But of course, it can be interpreted 2 ways. One could be that you went through what I just said in the present position, where, you went through that tower moment where you realized, okay, well, this is never going to turn into an actual commitment, right? So maybe this is saying that you're ready to just move on to someone else. But another way that this could be playing out for some of you as well could just be saying that you're actually thinking about making a love offer to this person. And, there's obviously November, the main theme of November is going to be that Mercury retrograde energy. So it would not surprise me at all if, you guys are revisiting connections from the past and maybe reconsidering. So that could be what's at play there. I don't know. It's really 50-50 for me. Like, logically, I would think more of you would be like, well, I'm just going to, move on to the next person, right? But I also feel strongly like a lot of you, though, are actually going to try to get things off the ground with this person again. So to be fair, maybe it was just something where one of you had to move away from the other, and maybe, now you're coming back to the same city or whatever the case may be, and maybe that's reigniting the connection. That could be what it is. But, obviously, that wouldn't be the case for all of you. And then I have to make note that at the bottom of the deck on your side, we actually have the King of Coins, which is a court card for Taurus. So this could just be pointing to the fact that maybe you're dealing with a Taurus. Again, like I said, for you guys, Taurus is your 11th house. So this can be pointing to that. And for those of you who had that career vibe, maybe this is saying that, you did have to sacrifice the relationship for something involving your career, right? Maybe some of you had to go away to school or something like that, or, you just took a promotion somewhere, and maybe this is saying now you have the stability, so you're considering presenting this offer to someone. But another thing this can be pointing to as well is just there's a lot of lunar activity going on with the sign of Taurus, because at the time of recording this, we haven't had that new moon yet in Scorpio. So for those of you watching this in November, it would have already happened. But there's a new moon coming up in Scorpio, and it's going to be opposite Uranus in Taurus. And then obviously there's going to be the full moon around the middle of November in Taurus. So it can just be pointing to that. So pay attention to those cycles in particular. Could be some significance there. And then what's interesting is on their side too, they have the Hierophant. So this is the major arcana card for Taurus. So there could definitely be something, again, either around those lunar cycles with Taurus involved, or this could just be pointing to you guys being friends, right? Maybe it was a friends with benefits thing, but interestingly enough, with the Hierophant showing up on the bottom of the deck on their side, it might be showing that maybe they're finally thawing out and they are, ready for a commitment. So something to keep in mind there. And then the future energy on their side is the Temperance card. So this is the major arcana card for Sagittarius. And you guys have had Jupiter going through that sign for a while now. And, so on the one hand, this card in particular, with this deck in particular too, it does represent balance. So that could just be saying that maybe now they're finally to give what they get from you, you know what I mean? As far as, okay, maybe in the past, they might have given you the impression of the balance with the Six of Pentacles, right? But really, they still weren't over their ex, right? So maybe this is saying that now, maybe even with that Nine of Pentacles, that could be saying that they finally cut ties with the ex, right? They're like, all right, I finally cut ties with this person. I'm over them. I'm totally free, totally single, right? That could, for some of you, can be what the Nine of Pentacles would mean there. And then this could just be saying that now that they finally have put that connection in the past, now they're finally ready to give equally with the Temperance energy. So that could be how it's playing out for some of you. Yeah, it's pretty much all I'm getting there. So let's see what the Oracle cards add to the mix. So first, what I try to do with these readings, if you haven't seen them before, is I try to see if we could get some additional messages from this Mystic Moon Oracle deck I have here. And the way I do it is I do pre-shuffle the deck before we start recording, and then I'm actually going to be looking for any unspoken messages from you toward them, and then from them toward you after that. And I just shuffle for a bit. If nothing comes up, since it's just a general reading, I just take that as a sign to keep it moving. But, we'll see. I'll shuffle for a bit. Like I said, first I'll be looking to see if we have any unspoken messages from you to them. So let's see if we get anything there. Okay, got a couple. And then let's see if we get any from them toward you next. Okay, got one. So, all right. So from you to them, we have I've thought a lot about you lately, and we will be together again. In a way, I was joking about it, but there definitely does seem to be like some kind of magic going on between the two. I don't mean, I mean like actual spell work of some kind, because just the wording, we will be together again. It's like so definitive, you know what I mean? But I don't know. Maybe for some of you, again, that might resonate more for those of you where in the present, it might have really been a situation where maybe you had to leave for like I said, maybe to go away to school or you had to move to another city for a job offer. Because in this card in particular, what's the Hangman rather, which is what this is in regular tarot, talks about seeing things from a different perspective. But in this deck in particular, it's called Sacrifice, and sometimes it's saying that. So let's take it in the most literal sense, saying that all right, you're making a sacrifice toward the connection because the job offer, because the reason I keep saying job offers, we have the Ace of Coins, might be too good to pass up, right? So you're like, all right, I really need to do this to get to the King of Coins level, right? And you might have sacrificed it. But in your mind, especially with the Magician card in the past, you might really feel like they're the ones. So you're like, okay, eventually we're going to come back together, right? But that could be how it's playing out for those of you where the career scenario is really what's going on. I've thought a lot about you lately. Like I said, retrograde's not a surprise at all to see this energy come out. But interestingly enough, the card that came out on their side is it possible to forgive and forget? Interesting, right? So this could definitely be for some of you where maybe they weren't letting you know about the ex in the past, or maybe this could even be saying that now that they finally have cut the person off with that Nine of Pentacles energy, but after you've already felt like heartbroken over the whole thing, this could be them coming back with the Temperance card, like, hey, sorry about that. Is it cool? Could we just pick things up where we left off, right? Not sure how you'd feel about that, but that could be what's playing out there, where to be fair, I don't necessarily feel like they were being deceptive outright. Like I don't think they had malicious intent, put it that way. Like it really could have been where they really were trying to keep it balanced, and like I said, maybe that's why they were trying not to commit to you, because they're like, well, I know I'm not over my ex from the past, right? But then maybe if it was getting involved on the sexual level, you were getting a different vibe, like, okay, well, maybe we're moving towards something, right? But they just weren't there mentally, and now maybe they're finally getting there. But the question is, was too much damage done already, right? Where I was saying for some of you, the Ace of Coins is that you're moving into a new connection, or is this saying that, okay, you guys actually can come back together? So, interesting. And lastly, we'll see if we get anything from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. So same situation here. This is another deck I pre-shuffled before we started recording. And with this one, I'm just looking for one card. So we'll see what we get. Okay, got one. Flexible. All right. Should be interesting. Sorry, I just threw it down on the table. I always do that for some reason, but here you go. It's flexible. There's the artwork, and the number is 19. Okay. Okay, it says teachability, open-mindedness, being adaptable without compromising what's most important. The Oracle's message: a tree's roots are solidly planted in the ground, yet its branches can bend in a hurricane, whereas a rigid structure like a building would come crashing down. Consider how the tree remains supple and secure when everything around it may be in shambles. This is how you need to be right now. Willing to learn new things, teachable, malleable, yet firmly grounded in who you are. Common sense is important, but so is an open mind. Stay curious, stay open. Stay aware. At this time, others will be more flexible with you too. So it's interesting there. What I was thinking about as I was reading that, I was thinking about the tower, right? Which is very much obviously like a represents a man-made structure that it sounds like it was describing, where it's saying, okay, a tree can bend in a hurricane and be fine, whereas a structure like a building would come crashing down. So maybe it's saying that, some flexibility in the situation might actually benefit you. So I guess the best way to interpret that would be that for those of you who don't want the connection to break off, it might just be asking you to be a little patient, right? If they do still seem non-committal now, because it looks like in the future they might actually come off of that stance and actually finally be um, ready for commitment. But it's just a question of can you remain flexible in the meantime, right? And if not, that's understandable too. But seems to be what the cards are saying there. All right. The relationship message says, in every relationship, it's important to be open to new experiences and learning new things. Letting go of rigidity is what's required right now. You don't always have to be right all the time, do you? It's okay to come to a happy compromise. You can still get your needs met. It's a beautiful day when you meet halfway. The appearance of this card in a reading could also signal that you have met someone new who may not be your type, but who will turn out to be so special that you can easily release your old ideas about what sort of partner is right for you. Be flexible. You'll be happy you made that choice. So that's an interesting one there too, because that makes me think of almost Ace of Cups energy for some of you, and then for others of you, this can be pointing to, the flexibility that, okay, meeting halfway, that makes me think of the temperance energy, right? And that might have even been the dynamic the two of you had in the past. But maybe that could have been what caused problems at times too, where one person didn't want to give more than the other. So it could have felt like very stop and go, like you guys both waiting to see what the other person does before you contribute something, you know what I mean? So hopefully all that resonated with you guys. We'll wrap up there and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.